Yo, 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 we got it to work. We are here. Can everybody hear me? All right. Anyone who's got a question, just put it in the chat box down below, and I will get to you. There's a little bit of a delay. You got a question? Yo, what's going on, you guys? What's up, Ryan? What's up, Ahmed? Jeremy, what's going on, dude? Good to see you. Perfect. Thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. How you guys doing? So I'll probably have a better camera setup and everything for next time. Just wanted to check to see. I'll get to your question in a second. Gulara Shavi. Okay, it looks like you're from Georgia. Um, I'll have a better camera setup and everything next time. I'm going to be releasing a video on like the best places to meet women, everything that's kind of like worked for me. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So Gulara Shavi, how can I pull off a three-way? So there are a couple ways that you can do it. There's two ways that I've done it where you go out with a woman and you guys pick up a third. And there's the other way, which is where you go out by yourself and you pick up two girls and you bring them back. So that's another way that I've done it. Okay. I've probably done it more times with the way that honestly be going out by myself, but in terms of new ones. Um, so that's how I've done it. By the way, anyone new who signed on, feel free to put a question in the chat box and I will answer it right now. I'm talking about how to pull off a threesome. So I'm assuming that you get the threesome through. Let's talk about if you go out by yourself. I don't know if you have another girl with you. All right. So let's talk about that one. If you go out, what you have to do is if you have the mindset to go out and pull a threesome and you're confident in it, that's actually going to really help you out, right? There was a time where I was going out and I was bringing home like two girls at the same time. And during that time, it felt like it was as easy to get two women to come home with me than it was for me to get one woman to come home with me. And during that time, what I did was I basically just treated both girls like one person. Um, and in that group of two, what I would do was I would kind of focus on more of the alpha. I call it alpha female, right? I don't like the word alpha, but maybe the more dominant one would be better to say. So what I would do is I would focus on her, and then I would kind of like get them both to go and hang out with me. So the same thing that I would do to bring home one woman, right? You walk up to her, you tease, flirt a little bit, get her to move with you, get her to move with you again. You guys maybe go dance. You introduce her to a few of your friends. You guys go out and you have an adventure. You lead them both to fun. All right. And you keep doing that throughout the night. And then what you want to do is you want to establish obviously some physical escalation during that. So the physical escalation is going to come really from you touching them both, then there's touching each other. And so like in one instance, we would do like a three-way kiss or something like that, but you want to lead into that. Okay. All of that might not happen while you're out, but some touching, some sort of escalation will happen while you're out. From there, you bring both women as one unit. You bring them back to your place. Probably want to, make them some drinks or something like that or whatever. And dude, you have fun at that point. Like that's the fun part, right? But you have to be 100% like, we're doing this. If you show any level of like, I don't know, this is kind of weird, the chicks are like, this guy ain't it, and they're gonna go away, right? So that's how you pull a threesome right there, you guys. Every time I've done it, it's kind of gone down in that way, right? All right. So Jared says, what's your diet like? How do you get those washboard abs? So I burn a lot of calories. I've been naturally a guy with a high metabolism, so I have a little bit of trouble building muscle. Building muscle is my yeah, building muscle is generally more difficult for me, but when it comes to being cut, I'm always cut. So yeah, it's not so much about my diet. My diet's all right. I eat twice a day, usually between like an 8 hour window. But mostly what I do is I'm very, very active. Even if I'm not working out that day, I move around a lot. So that's what I would do is you really want to make sure that you're moving around. Too many guys, they don't move at all. Like I know I sit down and I'm like at home, working from home a lot of the time. But even then, like I'll fit, I'll move around, I'll go outside for a walk or whatever. And I typically work out almost every day. Hi, Lloyd. What does it mean if a girl leaves you undelivered for 3 days when you are texting them? Okay. Yeah, not a good sign typically. If a woman's leaving you undelivered for 3 days and she's doing this habitually, I would find someone who's not doing that, dude. You deserve to be with someone who's like not going to do that shit. And if you put up with that and that's like what you're going to take, then yeah, that's what you're gonna get. Okay. Jeremy, my ex blindsided me and broke up with me about 8 weeks ago. Oh, dude, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. She's got avoidant issues. Any tips for letting go of her? Not ready to put myself back out there, but inching closer. Okay, well, dude, first of all, when you're ready to get back out there, hit me up, man. Part of the process of getting over somebody is being able to be excited about the future. I've talked about this a lot. There's a lot of bad advice out there, a lot of advice for getting over your. And what you want to do is you want to really make sure that you're getting the things done that make you feel proud of yourself. And like, talking about your feelings, yeah, that can help talking about going to therapy. I find that a lot of guys will do shit like that, and that will help you cope with the feelings that you have currently. But to get to a point where you've moved on, you have to be excited about the future without her. And the way that's going to come is by you improving yourself and you doing things that you are excited about, right? So if you're growing in your career massively, like you have a massive level up in your career, if you have a massive level up in your fitness, if you have a massive level up in your socializing, typically those things tend to fall to the wayside if somebody breaks up with us. And we are generally lacking in those things. So making an effort in those things can definitely help. What I typically help guys with is getting the social thing really handled, so they're excited about the future and they're meeting new and cooler people. And there's also some ways if you're having like maybe panic attacks or anxiety attacks, where you're just like really feeling like shit throughout the day. There's exercises that I have and worksheets that I have to help you cope with that. So yeah, Jeremy, I'd love to talk to you about this. Even if you're not ready to come on board, like, just sign on and we can come up with a game plan for you moving forward, man. Um, uh, Hold on. Move a lot, intermittent fasting equals abs. Yeah, yeah, it was absolutely. So Ahmed, why do good-looking guys struggle with women? Yeah, good-looking guys struggle with women because good-looking guys want good-looking women as well too. And so in terms of like if you walk up to somebody and your game is okay. Game typically takes a little bit of time for people to see. I mean, right away people can see confidence. So if you're a really unconfident guy and you're stumbling over your words and you're just like, and that's all the woman's seeing is your looks and you not having game and not being confident. She's probably not going to be interested in you unless you're really good looking and she's really looking for somebody. Um, but looks kind of get your foot in the door, but you have to be able to do other things. And I've seen a lot of good looking guys, the women that they are looking for are typically better looking than most women. And so for them, they want to get a woman who's as good or better looking than them. And the same rules apply for that. You still have to do other things to be able to get those women. And I find that sometimes good looking guys, they do the same things that work for women that are not as attractive and it works for them, but it doesn't really work for the women that they really want. Okay. So there's a lot of different things. There's more to your attractiveness than your looks. What did you find helped getting more second dates? Don't struggle to get the first, but the second and third can be tough. Yeah, so it really depends on your setup. It really depends on how the date's going. Basically, if you're not getting second dates, it means that the way you're setting up the date might need some work. The date that you're having might need some work. Or if you're getting a lot of dates from dating apps, then it might mean that the profile that you have is a lot better than what they're getting in real life. Okay. I'm not saying you're catfishing people. I don't know how you're getting dates actually, but it's one of those three things. And I typically find that guys that don't have a proper setup or don't approach dating in the right way can get ghosted a lot. I know we talked earlier, and you're a really good looking guy, man. So if you're a really good looking guy, then a lot of times that gets your foot in the door. But if the setup isn't correct, then it can be, yeah, it can make for a losing battle. And also too, I'd like to see kind of what you're doing on the dates as well, which I'm not sure you probably won't be able to type all of it out. Um, who was your favorite RSD instructor? Um, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really know all of them too well. I thought all of them had pretty cool stuff. I was really inspired by Max because of his just his work ethic. He helps businesses out right now. I liked his work ethic. I knew Jeffy personally. I thought he was a cool guy. So yeah, I mean, both of those guys. I didn't really know all the other guys well enough to be able to judge them. If he was blindsided, it's because he wasn't paying attention to the signs of her losing attraction. Yeah, that's part of it. So, we can also, if you want to book a call, Jeremy, we can also talk about maybe some of the things we might have missed. I find that a lot of times women are telling us things and maybe either we're not paying attention. But there are some times where women um, will just leave, in a very cold way. So Ryan says, just got fired from my job, but really liked this coworker. Since I got a return work shit, gonna go back tomorrow and shoot my shot with that coworker I was trying to play the long game with. Yeah, don't go in there and ask her out. Do not go in there and ask her out. I mean, you're at the probably the lowest position of all time, unless she was making it very clear that she was interested in you. That's not going to work. And on top of you getting fired from your job, you're going to be like getting rejected by a girl you probably have a crush on. So I wouldn't ask her out directly. What I would do is, maybe you can have a quick conversation with her, saying hi, and then I would probably add her, just saying, hey, it was great working here, but yeah, I got some other opportunities that I'm checking out. By the way, do you have a social media? Do you have Instagram? Do you have a phone number? Blah blah. We can stay in contact. Get her phone number there. Try to do activities and hop around. Yeah, it depends on the activities and how you set it up. Okay, so Ryan, that's what I would do. Okay. Cool. Anybody else have any questions right now that they want me to answer? If you have a question, please just type it up in the chat window. What I'd like to be able to do to get this going in the future is for someone to be able to join me by video, but I actually don't know how to do that yet. I actually don't know how to do that yet. So when I figure that out, we'll be able to do it. Should you pay for every date? Zayn Ali says, should you pay for every date? If you are inviting them out to the date, yeah, in general, you're gonna be the one to pay for the date. I don't really do expensive dates typically the first time I meet somebody. It just sets a bad precedent. She's gonna expect that every single time. So, if I'm drinking, we'll take you out for drinks. If we're going to like if we're going to get something to eat, I'm not going to choose a really expensive spot, but I am going to choose somewhere where I like the atmosphere. It's a good atmosphere, typically some place where we can walk around after. I know we're getting into winter time now, so if you're in a place that's really cold, make sure that the place is very close so you're not out in the cold for too long. And definitely, definitely, definitely bring an extra jacket in case she is cold. That way you can be a gentleman and we go like this. She'll shiver and then you'll put it over her and, you know, she'll really like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that you can find dates that don't even cost any money, like going for a nice walk, seeing a view, showing her around things. But I typically like to do some form of financial investment into the date, um, because I want to show her that I'm invested, and that's one of the ways that you can do it. But I'm not going to invest like, $200 on a fucking dinner. All right. What is your opinion on negging? So the concept of negging came out because a lot of guys at that time were concerned about not coming off as needy. They really didn't want to come off as needy, but they also knew that giving some woman a compliment had a very powerful effect, a powerful initial effect, but they didn't want to become needy. So what they did was they're like, well, I'm going to give her a compliment, but it's going to be a backhanded compliment. And I think the example that Mystery used was he said something like, oh, I like your nails. And are they real? And then she'd be like, no. Oh, okay. Well, they're still nice, you know? Um, for him, that was like the idea of the backhanded compliment, where it's kind of like it's a compliment, but it's also not needy, and it's like puts them down socially a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of it. The way he did it, I think was a little bit more clever than the way other people have interpreted it, which is they just see it as almost a straight up insult, which is definitely not what you want to be doing. Unless there are certain circumstances where you get away with that, but yeah, in general, I would stay away from negging because a lot of people get it confused. When do you decide between going for the number and Instagram? I noticed asking for Instagram works better for a long game and traveling. Yeah, these days, honestly, dude, like I will go for the Instagram first. That way she can see my stuff, she can see my stories, I can see her photos, she can kind of keep tabs on me. And then, we can still message. She can see my message. Like there's a lot of ways that Instagram is better than regular messaging. But for me personally, my close friends, I text message. I don't go through Instagram, so like I do phone calls as well too. So when we get closer, that's when I'll bust out the phone number. Um, Women expect equal pay slash salaries, but also expect men to pay for every date. Well, double standards, bro. I can't have it both ways. Yeah, so I'll just tell you a few things about there are a lot of things that are unfair in society, and I'll talk more about them. The date part, it's a little bit so you have to put the odds in your favor. Okay, so if you're driving all the way over to her and you're trying to figure out what she wants, that's not a good date, dude. A good date is you do something and you go somewhere that like, you probably would enjoy going even if she wasn't there, right? So, a good spot that you would want as well too. Too many guys try and like overcompensate and like pick something that they think she's gonna like, and they don't take themselves into consideration at all, which is like the wrong way to go about this. All right. If you pick a spot that's nearby you, which you should, you lead her around to places that you know. So she's driving farther than you. In addition to that, she's applying makeup, she's taking longer to get ready, she's paying for all of that stuff. In my opinion, the exchange is a bit more equal than a lot of guys claim it to be. If you just focus on who pays for the dinner, yeah, it would probably be the same. But if you organize the date correctly, then it will tip the odds more in your favor. The problem is most guys they do everything they can to try and please the woman at the beginning of the date, which is not what you want to do. What is the most single thing that kills attraction instantly? Yeah, acting like a bitch, and people do it in different ways, right? When you always hear women talk about icks, and they have the most ridiculous icks of all time, but they generally come down to, making a guy look like some sort of pansy. This doesn't mean that you can't, I'm going to say that everyone thinks they're going to have to be all macho all the time. That's not true. Be someone who can stand up for himself, but like being Mr. Macho Man all the time, that's not what you would do. But looking needy, looking desperate, those kinds of things, that's going to be the single most unattractive thing. Hi, Lloyd. I'm currently a college student and I arranged to meet up with a girl, but she stood me up. However, I will still run into her on campus. What should I do if I run into her? All right, so this is going to suck, but you're gonna act like nothing happened, dude. You're gonna act like it was all fine, it's all good, and you're never gonna ask her out again to anything. You're going to be polite, but you're not going to give her any extra attention. You're not going to be texting her. You're not going to be doing any of those things. She has lost permission to have you as someone who is interested in her. And believe me, if you can act cool around this, but completely remove your attention otherwise, she will notice and she will be thinking about it and she will be upset. How to handle it when they say you are too serious. I'm not going to change my personality and being some huge comedian. I'm kind of serious. Okay, cool. So you got to play into your advantage, right? So a date typically isn't going to be your strong suit, but as a dating coach, ironically, I'm not someone who thinks that dates are a great way to meet and build attraction with somebody. If you're serious, like I'm a very serious person. I look like I'm about to murder people 24/7. So with me, the way I'm able to get women is like they see me doing stuff, right? So if I have a party, I'm usually helping people out. I'm usually running shit. You have to find a way to show that side of yourself that women can see that. So maybe instead of going to a dinner date where all you do is talk, I would pick an activity where you're trying to win, right? I would pick an activity that you are going to have more fun with. You have to take her into your world. There's plenty of serious guys that do well with women. But if you put yourself into an environment where she's expecting that she's going to be laughing all the time, that's going to be a losing environment for you. So I don't know what that's going to look like for you, but that's what I would change. Is I would change the environment that you're putting her in. Should you text her every day leading to the date? No, I wouldn't text her every day leading to the date. Um, I would maybe text her every few days or something like that. You can. I mean, these are all rules that you can break, but in general, that's not a good. You don't want to over. Once you've set the date, you just need to text them a few times to make sure that it's going to happen, and that's about it, right? Is it worth pursuing a girl with a boyfriend even if she shows high interest? Also, any tips on avoiding the friend zone? I've got friends in the last three girls I talked to. Okay, cool. So this guy, the guy wonder, you're having the classic example of someone who doesn't have a lot of options with women, and you need to get into a place where you're more attractive and you have more abundance with women. Okay. So the way to become more attractive is to show more confidence, to take care of your appearance, to talk with more confidence, work on your game, your personality, or all that stuff. But we really got to be a guy who like doesn't give a fuck, right? And by doesn't give a fuck, I mean you're caring about other things more than that temporary interest you could get from a woman by being, nice or whatever. Um, every guy who I talk to who is like kind of trying a little bit or is focusing on this but isn't having any luck, he always tends to meet women who have boyfriends. He always tends to get friend zoned by girls. But he's trying, right? So what you need to do is you need to put yourself in a better position where you're not getting girls with boyfriends who are like showing interest and hitting on you, because like the reason why they're doing that is because they're probably not getting what they want from their boyfriend, and it's just a bad situation to be in. Unless, I mean, I've slept with a bunch of women who had boyfriends. Most of them I didn't even know they had boyfriends, or it was like a boyfriend that was overseas, and I was, in my piece of shit era, so I was just kind of doing that. Um, Unless it's any of those categories, like I would probably just stay away from it. But dude, like this is the sign that we need to work on ourselves. We need to get ourselves into a more attractive spot so we can start dating the women that we want to date. Dude, I'd love to have a conversation with you and come up with a plan for that. So if you want, you can click on the link in my bio, getcoachedbylloyd.com, fill out the form, and book a call with me. We'll see what we can do, man. Nicholas, you went, thanks for the advice. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Do Western women like Arabs? Um, Western women like good looking dudes, and Arab guys extremely good looking, right? Um, I don't know what you look like. I can't really see your photo. If you want to come on, I can kind of tell you, uh, what maybe things that we have to do with our look. But in general, what you want to do, especially in the Western world, is like you want to fight your stereotype, right? So like this is not going to be some PC conversation. I'm going to tell you exactly the truth. And the truth is that Western women, many times, are gonna stereotype you because people inherently are racist. That's just the truth. But there are certain things that you can do, no matter what race you are, to be effective, right? So, typically, what I find is that if you're from a race that's, you're like if you're black or if you're Arab or if you're, you want to be nicer, be nicer. These types of men are seen as more traditional. They're seen as more aggressive, and so women can be a little bit nervous around them. So you want to definitely be confident, but also be extremely kind, right? And then for people that are from like Asia, like South Asia, like Chinese or Indian or something like that, those guys tend to be seen as uh, they tend to be seen as less aggressive, and so they need to be more assertive when they're talking to people. And so if you fight your stereotype, you should have a lot of success. Right. But I need to see what you look like. You might look like a guy who looks too nice, you know, you might, people might see that from you. So, like it's not all about the race, right? Yeah. Western women do like Arabs, but I have to see kind of what your thing is. All right. Is it important to know women's nature? I believe absolutely it is, dude. Yeah, man. If you don't, the problem with men is that they think that women think like them, right? So take this for instance. Um, you'll go out on a date with a woman and you want to sleep with her that date and she don't want to do it. And you're like, shit, man, I guess she's not into me. That's not how women think. There are a lot of women who won't sleep with you on the first date because they're really into you. Okay. Women think about things so differently than men do in a dating context. And it is so annoying to me that in the modern era, we treat them like we're the same person. And to illustrate differences is considered sexist or, whatever, or misogynist. It's absolutely not, dude. That's like, you really got to understand female nature. They should be teaching this in schools, although if they did teach it in schools, they'd probably fuck it up. So, like, it's a good thing that guys like me exist. Had a bad first performance with a woman. Used my hands though. She was still kissing me, etc. On my way out the door. Let me know when she made it, but stopped replying. Okay. Um, it depends how you handle it, but a lot of times women, I'm assuming you couldn't get hard. If you couldn't get hard, then what typically happens is that, she's going to blame herself. She's going to think, oh, this guy is not into me. This guy isn't interested in dating me. And so they blame themselves and then they don't want to see you anymore. Um, I blame them. I'm like, listen, you're so hot. Like, I'm kind of nervous right now. So, like, it's been a while. And so then I make it about that. And then if it's someone who you had a strong connection with originally, she should be fine with that. Dude, there was one time where I got a threesome and one of the girls was so hot that like, and it was just kind of like a weird, it happened so quickly that I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. Like, I just couldn't get hard. And when I finally got a little bit hard, I came in, I'm not exaggerating, like 0.2 seconds. And she looked at me and she was just like, are you serious? And then shortly, like within 2 minutes, they left. And I was just like, oh my God damn it. Like, what the, I was so pissed off after that. Feeling ashamed, feeling embarrassed. And I did everything I possibly could to try and get her back out. And eventually I got her back out. I got her to come to a party. And she took forever to show up. Like I thought she wasn't going to come. So I ended up finding another girl and I took her home. And and then and then I didn't see her after that. But then she actually got married and then she got divorced. And then she sent me a message like this all happened within the space of like 6 years. Um, then she sent me a message like a year ago asking like what I was doing, and at the time, I'm in a relationship now, so I couldn't do anything. But um, just because you had a bad performance doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Like we all fuck up, dude. It's don't get down on yourself too hard. But that will help in the future is if you are up for and honest. I usually tell him, hey, it's been a while. He's a little nervous right now, but he's gonna come out. He's gonna come out soon. Don't worry. Uh, Bahamirian. Hello, Lloyd. I've been following you for 4 years. You're inspiration for me. Dude, thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude. Keep watching. Hopefully I can be more help. Sometimes I wonder, why do women like guys who disrespect them and treat them like shit and avoid guys that treat them well? This is so confusing. Okay. So your definition of well, and this is what I used to get mad about. Okay. Being nice is not the same as being kind. So like, okay, what do women want at their core? They want a guy who can protect them. They want a guy who can move them forward in life, right? A lot of women want that. They want a guy with a plan who's heading somewhere, and a guy who can provide a life for them or contribute to their life in today's day and age. If you're just really nice and you're just doing things for her, that's at her core. Like, she will initially like that, but at her core, that's not what she wants. The problem with women and the problem with the way it's taught these days is that we listen to what women say and we believe them. And women will say, I just want a nice guy who treats me right. What she's really saying is, I want the guys that I'm already interested in and attracted to be nice to me and want me and care about me. But those guys are the ones she's interested in. She doesn't say that part. She doesn't say who she's actually interested in. And it's those guys that can do that. Now, if you get a guy who is like that and can be nice to her and cares about her, then that guy is considered kind, right? It's like Jordan Peterson says, being a nice guy means nothing if you have no power. But if you do have power, then being nice becomes incredible, you know? Women always say this when they meet a celebrity or they meet like some powerful person or like a rich executive or whatever. They'll be like, oh my God, like I had no idea. He was nothing like what I expected him to be. You know, he was super kind. And they'll always say, like, what made you pick this guy? What made you go for him? Oh, it was his kindness. It was the fact that he did this little thing. That's not the reason. I mean, the big part of it was that other stuff that attracted her to him in the first place. So you got to become a guy who is attractive. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm not just talking about being good looking. I'm talking about having confidence, showing that you're heading towards something. Being and you show this by the way that you take her out on a date, by the way you pursue her, by the way you treat other people around her. All of those things matter, right? So those things matter to her more than a guy who's nice. Can get women pretty easily attracted to me, but once I realize they're into me, I act differently. Squandered a lot of quality opportunities because of this. How to improve? Okay, so my guess is, Joseph Jack, is that you're comfortable being like, you're comfortable showing interest when it's like convenient for you, right? When it's there's nothing at stake. But then when she's interested in you, you're like, oh shit, this is this is an opportunity that doesn't happen very often. I better not fuck this up. And by you saying that, oh, I better not fuck this up, now you're fucking it up. Okay. So the way to do this is, number one, you can get more options and more opportunities. So, you know, if you fuck one opportunity up, like there'll be another one around the corner, it'll be fine. The other way is to figure out, okay, if I have this opportunity right now, what do I normally do that's different? And you can iron out those things. I'd recommend you do both, dude. I recommend you do both, build up confidence. I mean, this is something that I help guys out with on a regular basis. So I don't know what specific thoughts are coming in your head, and what you're specifically doing that's different, but we'll be able to figure that out. No problem. All right. And if you want to talk more about this, I would just fill out the get coached by Lloyd form. All right. So let's talk about, I'm doing my master's in the US. I'm from South Asia, Bangladesh. Do the women in USA like men from South Asia, or is there some prejudice? Yeah, like I was saying before, like people are obviously going to have opinions of people from different areas. And so you have to fight your stereotype, right? If you're coming in and you know, you're doing a master's, if it's in technology or if it's software engineering, like there's a lot of software engineers here who are Indian, who are very nerdy, who you know, don't know how to talk to women. fight your stereotype. Be the guy who can talk to women. Be the guy who is confident. Be the guy who is someone who can do that sort of stuff. And the other thing too is like if you're going to a country or a culture, you want to be someone who assimilates well. Honestly, learning how to speak good English can really help. Learning how to speak English well helps. Like when I was in South America, when I was in Mexico, I didn't, like for me, I wasn't trying to just be there and be like, oh, I'll just like, speak English all the time. Like I learned Spanish, right? I am Hispanic, but I improved my Spanish, right? I learned things about the culture and all of that. My friend told me he makes a joke about it and tells the girl to suck on that little wiggle worm. Apparently, it worked for him. Yeah, don't listen to what your friend says. He's not telling you the full story. There's a lot of other things that went down before that happened. She was probably already very into him, or maybe they were both really drunk, and it was pretty clear they were going to hook up. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that led up to that, probably. They take nice guys for granted, so they won't be interested as a guy who is indifferent to them. Yeah, a guy who's indifferent to them, you can't just not care. You have to be about something. You have to be someone worth looking at first. Just not caring by itself is not enough. Be a kind gentleman capable of violence if necessary to protect yourself and others. Not a nice guy, sim pushover. Yeah, well put, man. Sean M was tired of getting friend zoned, but was sometimes getting late, so I started trying to act more flirty and initiating touch more on first dates. Now my results are even worse. Any idea why? Because you're doing something that feels unnatural to you, and you're probably pushing things when it's not necessary, right? Because you're fighting against something like I don't want to get friend zoned again. I don't want to do this, so I'm gonna fight against this, and I'm gonna do something that feels unnatural to me, right? You probably need more of a subtle touch. And look, dude, being patient is fine. I guarantee you, there's other things that are leading to the friend zone for you that you're not seeing just yet, and you tried the wrong solution. So we got to try the right solution. I mean, this is something that I help guys out with on a daily basis. So if you want more help, I would fill out the coaching form, and we'll see if it makes sense for you to hop in. Okay, she was a party girl and here on a work visa. Guessing she wanted quick fun. My last question to her was if we get tested together for next time, was it low IL or the question? Okay, I don't remember what the first question was, unfortunately. So I wish I could help this out, but I don't know what low IL means either. Low interest level? Was it low interest level or the question? Um, I think it might have been low interest level, but you have to understand, a lot of people don't understand this. Dude, if you sleep with a woman really, really quick, the likelihood that she is hold on, I totally lost my train of thought while I was reading one of the messages. So if a woman sleeps with you really quick, the likelihood of her ghosting you goes up. It goes up tremendously. What was your biggest fumble? Ugh. Um, I had a couple threesomes that I probably could have had if I wasn't retarded. I guess fumble. I don't know, dude. When you get to this point, like you kind of start to remember your successes. And so I've been rejected a lot. I've been for the videos, I have to really think about my brutal rejections. Um, and yeah, it's really tough sometimes. So I mean, this should be encouragement for you guys. All those bad times that you had with women that, you think about now, like you will forget about them, dude. And then you'll just remember the good times. How do you deal with language barriers? So there's a lot of great translating apps on the phone that you can get. Those work really well. I also like to go through social media and just like show photos, and then I can like send them things in the translator app. You can get a translator app now for even a free trial on a translator app where you'll literally speak into it and it will translate it for you. Um, Interest level bad for 4 and 5. Okay, cool. Can you Can you introduce some books that can help me how to behave with confidence and how to treat women? Yeah, Malt by Mark Manson's not bad. Um, How to Win Friends and Influence People is a pretty good book too. Yeah, those are the two ones that I'd pick. I don't like most pickup books, to be honest with you. But those are the two that come to mind. Um, you can be the most alpha or the creator of the alphas. She will still get bored. Yeah, I wouldn't think about it being alpha. So like alpha is a concept that came up with recently. Like guys like Andrew Tate, they really play into that. There's some guys online who talk about being alpha all the time, like FitX Fearless. It's like a marketing ploy mostly. But really what it is you're a guy who's assertive, who is bringing a lot of value and people follow you. Okay. In our modern day era, most guys in their quest to be alpha end up actually looking incredibly stupid and try hard. Um, Being an alpha is really not about that. Women can sniff bullshit a lot better than guys can. And if you're a guy who's like trying to be the alpha, like you end up just coming off as stupid. Like I've shown some of those guys' videos to women, and that's like one of the first things they say is they look really try hard. Um, yeah, not that they don't get women. They get women because they're extremely good looking and confident and rich, but the stuff that they talk about and the way they talk about it is definitely a huge detriment. So they're successful in spite of their alpha talk. It would be better if they didn't do that. They would have way more success with women. Why does the ghosting go up with quick? Okay, cool. So yeah, great question. Love for all. Uh, Women will ghost a guy who they hooked up with for the simple reason that like if they hooked up really quickly with him, there's a couple of things going on psychologically within a woman's mind. Number one is she feels a little guilty. She feels like she gave it up too quick. And then she also feels like the guy doesn't respect her and is a player. And so because she has all these bad feelings associated with it, not during, I'm sure during it was great. But most of the time, the feeling that a woman gets is not the actual sex part. It's after, where she feels bad, where she feels guilty, where she feels, like women, it's a bonding chemical, right? And when they get that and the guy just doesn't really like give a shit about them, or they think the guy doesn't give a shit about them, then they feel like, oh, I've made a mistake. And because it has all these bad feelings associated with it, they just don't want to be a part of it anymore. They they they'd rather leave that situation, even if they were the one who initiated it, even if they were the one who initiated it. And then there's sometimes where women go out, maybe they're trying to get over an ex-boyfriend or something like that, and they literally just go and hook up with a guy to try and like forget about him for a little bit, or they're going through some shit and it doesn't work. They end up thinking about the guy again, and they're just like, that was a mistake. Like I don't want to see that guy again, right? Women do it. Women will have random hookups that they regret. It's usually because of some emotional shit that they're dealing with. Um, very like maybe occasionally a woman will hook up with a guy the way guys do, but most of the time it's because of that. So if you really like a girl, and you're worried that this might happen to you, what I'd recommend is you guys can sleep together, but you don't have sex with her until the morning. Okay. If she was really interested, the question wouldn't cause her to ghost, basically. Yeah, but like I said, if I mean, I don't know how long you guys were talking to. I probably need to know more information about that. But yeah, I mean, if you sleep with her quickly, then all of those psychological feelings that I was mentioning can still come up. Hey Lloyd, just another question. Something that happens a lot is when I first meet a woman, she seems kind of interested at the start, but then her texts slowly take longer till I give up. Why? Okay, because you're probably not moving things along in a way that she feels like it's actually heading somewhere. So yeah, that's something that we can talk about. But my guess is you're showing a little too much interest in the fact that this is clearly something that you really um Yeah. Oh, love for all. Okay, so you met and hooked up that day. Yeah, that makes total sense. It was really quick. All of those things that I was mentioning were in play, right? Um, so yeah, if to answer your question, Nicholas, if women are taking longer and longer after you start texting initially, it's because there's some interest there, but you muddle it by not moving it in direction. The masculine moves things in a direction. He doesn't have a lot of meaningless text messages back and forth. If you're texting her a lot just so you can get a response and feel better about yourself, I guarantee you this is happening a lot. DN, what is your success rate? So I don't know what you mean by success rate. But I have a girlfriend right now, so it's been a long time since I've like even thought about that. You don't really want to think about things in terms of success rate, but you do want to take in like averages, right? So like at the beginning, I would talk to a lot of different women and most of them would not be interested in me. And I was very clear about what I wanted. I was trying to get laid. So I would do that to like a bunch of women throughout the night. And like, at the beginning, pretty much all of them wouldn't be interested. Then I got better and better and like some of them would be interested. But when I really started to get good was when it seemed like pretty much almost every woman that I wanted, I would get. And the way that I did that was I built an environment for myself that really worked. So it was like, a good social circle of female friends. I was doing things that I enjoyed. And then I was bringing people into this environment. If I brought somebody into this environment, the level of attraction that they would have for me was so much higher than if I was just some random dude that walked up to them, that it was pretty clear that they were already interested in me before they even came in or interested in the stuff that I did. And because I had engineered an environment like that was like for me, that was good for me, um, it was almost certain that I would be able to sleep with them, right? Uh, or at least date them. And so if you engineer your environment correctly, you know how to talk, you know how to do all that stuff and escalate appropriately, like you can achieve this as well too. It is possible. I've been dating a girl 6 months weekly, still no exclusive chat. Any ideas? Um, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're saying. There's still no exclusive chat. Maybe you're saying you're only chatting. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Okay, so can anyone get the Giga Chad treatment without having to look? Um, yeah, you can with social status. You can with social status. 18 to 21 Latina baddies are into me, but when they find out I'm in my late 20s, they lose interest. How do I deal with that? Bro, that's bullshit, dude. They should not be losing interest in you because you're in your late 20s, right? That probably means you're hanging out with kids in a kid environment. You got to take them out of that environment and bring them into somewhere way cooler. It probably means there's got to be something else going on, dude. Like I'm a 33-year-old man, and I can't tell you the number of 18-year-olds that want to sleep with me. Okay, something's wrong. It's not your age. It's not your age. Any strategies to wait? Hold on. Any strategies to avoid getting sperm jacked or the "you're the father" phone calls seems to be a thing these days. Yeah, the stats for that are not super high. So, for people in couples, if they genetically test the child to see if the current husband is the father, you know, the rates are like 99.8%. He is the actual father. I have to look at the stats, but I don't like that they talk about this in the red pill community because they're scaring guys for no reason. Not for no reason. Like you definitely want to be a man and assertive about it, but like it just doesn't happen that much. That's something about a soap operas. It really doesn't happen that much. You are right, Lloyd. I am in technology. I am a robotics research, and you're also right. I'm nerdy, but I'm also very outgoing and fit. Okay, cool. So lean into the outgoing into fitness and do what you got to do to get yourself, to turn yourself into a fucking badass, dude. With that background, how do I make the most? Exactly what I said, man. Turn yourself into a fucking badass, man. Write down the things that you want to be good at, that you want to like. If when you look at somebody else, like he looks like the guy who dates the kind of women that you want to date, what are some of the things that you can do that he does? And within reason, it could take fashion, it could take your look, it could take, working out, developing the body that you want, but also being able to talk the way that you want as well, too. Nerdy guys tend to have poor posture. They tend to not be able to talk to women very well. So change those things. Where I live, it's culture that when a man try to connect with multiple women, they gossip about it and talk about how he's a simp or a nerd. So every girl cuts their connection. What can I do? I don't know where you live, but I would be very surprised. So you're showing too much interest. Okay, I see what the problem is. You're showing too much interest in each of them. You need to show a little bit less interest, but also be someone who is connecting with them and talking to them. I know it's gonna feel like you're getting friend zoned, but if you're confident, I promise you, the friend zone doesn't fucking exist. Okay, last one. Guess I just need reassurance that it wouldn't have worked. I was looking for long term and went with the vibe, and she even said, "How did I find a guy like you?" Yeah, dude, I guarantee you this chick is like dealing with a breakup or something. She's fallen in love with every dude she meets, and then she ditches them. Like this is part of the process of her getting over her ex, and we were one of the guys who she met. So yeah, respect the real talk. Thank you. Absolutely, dog. I got you guys. What if you run out of words and are uncomfortable and silence settles in? Okay, dude, you like there's always stuff to talk about. You're probably filtering what you say. But if there's an awkward silence, dude, fucking embrace it. Awkward silence ain't never killed nobody. So I would watch my video on how to never run out of things to say, but when you're a confident person, like you'll always be able to like think of something. Like you'll always be able to say, "Oh, damn, I really wanted to say something and I totally forgot it." And now we're just sitting here talking. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself? You know, something most people wouldn't guess, right? So we just killed that uncomfortable silence. How do you balance being genuine and building an authentic connection with a girl without coming off weak or exposing too much of yourself? Is it dependent on the girl if this matters? Yeah, yeah. So like people talk about they list things about themselves way too much. Become good at telling stories. And when you tell stories, like if I was going to tell people about myself, I would tell them one story about me traveling through Vietnam and how I, got stranded in a Cambodian village. Right? That would be one story. Don't tell them anything else. But see how much more interesting I sound than if I list all the places on that I've traveled to, all the things. If you list all your accomplishments, like it just sounds fucking lame, dude. Then people are like, there's no mystery here. Okay. All right. I feel like being aloof and mysterious is more a successful strategy, but it's not me. Yeah. So you want to talk about a lot about a little, not a little about a lot. So tell stories about small events in your life, but don't like list things about yourself. This ain't a resume. Resumes are boring and they kill all the mystery. Um, had girls pay for me on follow-up dates, but if a girl doesn't offer or even acknowledge it by saying thanks, does that signal low interest even if she goes out with you? Your girl never pays for you. Um, my girl tries to pay, and I don't let her. But she gives things to the relationship in other ways. I have been with women who, wanted to pay, but they were I didn't let them either. Right. At the beginning, I tend to not do that stuff. But what I do is I make sure that they're contributing to my life in other ways. Right. If she's not acting the way you want her to act and you're paying for shit, like, don't go out with her again. But in general, I just think it sets a bad precedent if she pays because then she's gonna think like, done, we're even. I'm out of here. And then she won't feel the masculine feminine connection between the two of you. Dude, even feminist chicks, they can say whatever they want. They like it when a guy pays. They like it when a guy pays. Here's the thing though. Don't take her on some fucking expensive date, dude. And never take girls out on expensive dates unless they've earned it, right? So there's that too. Um, so my girl will later on in the relationship, she has paid for stuff. Let me just say that. But at the beginning, no. Okay, cool. Are you teaching us from anecdotes? Anecdotes and science, I think. Yeah. I live in Iran, so when I DM some girls or asking questions or send a reaction, they took screenshots. Most of the girls here do this. It's like they want a man who just messaged them only. Same in college. Hmm. We live in Iran, huh? Dude, I've coached people all around the world. I think that there's definitely something that we can do to work on your stuff. I wish you could join my program, but if you're in Iran, that might be a little bit tough for you. Holy shit. What's up, Eric? Eric is here. How can I get eyebrows like yours? You have to be angry all the time, constantly, and then you might get to my level. Cool. All right, I have time for one more question. If I don't get one in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to sign off. Okay. Going once, going twice. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. So I'm going to make this a regular thing. We're going to be doing this every single week. So yeah. What I want to have happen is I want people to be able to join up and start their video. Okay, cool. We got some questions here. I'll just roll through them really fast. What is making you angry? That was a joke. Do you think it's possible to regain attraction after a poor first date? Yeah, it absolutely is. But whether you'll get that chance or not is very tough. For women to go out on a date with a guy is a very big risk. So you're gonna have to find a way to, basically encounter her or show her your better sides. It's usually not worth it. What's your experience been like living in Austin versus San Francisco? Austin tends to have a little bit more attractive women here. It's a little bit easier to meet people in certain ways. But like, I don't like Austin it's all white people here. And there's Latinos here somewhere, but I don't, I like the diversity of San Francisco, man. I miss it. Um, I have a chance to move to New York or London. Which one is better for game? New York. What is making you angry? Yeah, I already answered that. How do you attract and keep 18 to 21-year-old baddies? Okay, be a fucking badass, dude. Like, you gotta lead these girls. They're 21. Like, you have to lead them. All right. They don't know what they want, right? If you lead them and you like show them you're fucking boss, like that's what's gonna make them into you. Okay. 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 Yeah, no problem, you guys. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. All right, you guys. I will tell you the next time we have one will probably be next week. We'll talk then. All right, you guys. Peace out. How do I stop?